So an AI webtoon just launched on December 4th on Instagram here in Korea, and everyone's reading it. Every major news outlet has covered it. There are tons of articles about it in Korea, and even I had to take a break from my day to actually sit down and read the entire thing. So we got 12 episodes. It's written by a 29-year-old guy who has no history in the industry, and the account that posted it went from 30,000 followers to 70,000 followers in just under 2 weeks. But in order for me to fully explain to you why this is so important and why it's blown up so big, I actually need to tell you about a controversial figure in Korean history, Chun Doo-hwan. Here's the first line of his Wikipedia entry. Chun Doo-hwan was a South Korean army general who served as the 5th president of South Korea from 1980 to 1988. Very simple. Here's the second. A member of the Democratic Justice Party, he ruled the country as a military dictator following a successful coup in 1979. In addition to being a military dictator of Korea, he came into power after the previous dictator of South Korea, Park Chung-hee, was assassinated by the then director of the Korean Central Intelligence Agency. Chun was known for exacting quick economic growth throughout the country. Like, he's considered responsible largely for the success of Korea as a first world country. But he did so through authoritarian and violent means that included concentration camps, military action against civilians, embezzlement, and just so much more. Eventually, his presidency ends with him actually holding a democratic election and someone else wins, they become president. But in 1995, he was actually arrested on charges of conspiracy, insurrection, and there were ongoing investigations of embezzlement and corruption. The Korean courts eventually found him guilty. They sentenced him to life in prison and a fine of 220 billion Korean won. That's about 148 million USD. In the end, Chun's sentence was commuted. He was let out of prison, and the government was only able to collect a portion of the fines. And he lived out the rest of his life in Seoul until he passed away in November 2021. And realistically, most of his story ends there, and that's the end of him and his family, if not for his grandson, Chun Woo-won. On December 4th, an Instagram account linked to Chun Woo-won uploaded a series of AI-generated webtoons apparently describing his upbringing and childhood under Chun Doo-hwan. And it's a lot to read. So the webtoon really just revolves around the main character named Mongeuly, who is a white lamb. And the stories feature him being abused by his grandparents and experiencing life as an outcast in Korea and the US specifically, which is how Chun Woo-won grew up. He grew up going to school in the US and also going to school in Korea. One scene features Mongeuly complaining to his grandparents in the car that he's feeling carsick. And then they stop the car and the grandfather character punches him. And in the next scene, Mongeuly is dragged away by security guards. And then there's one where Mongeuly is arriving in the US at an airport, and then the father character arrives in a very fancy car with some woman next to him, hinting at, family drama, which actually is known to have happened in his, family. So this isn't the first time that Chun Woo-won has actually made headlines in Korea. He was featured heavily in the news after referring to his grandfather as a mass murderer and claiming that his family had more than enough assets to pay the fines imposed by the Korean government, but they just didn't. Shortly after that report, he actually was live streaming and he admitted to the use of illegal drugs on a live stream. He was in the US at the time, but for Korean citizens, it is illegal for them to use drugs anywhere in the world. So he voluntarily came back to Korea, where police arrested him. They released him on his own cognizance, but he was convicted of illegal drug use and has a suspended jail sentence that is actually still ongoing. Now, right now, at the time of me making this video and actually writing the Substack that goes with this video, the Instagram account that was uploading these webtoons has deleted everything. So now there's just 3 posts. None of them have to do with the webtoon at all. The only thing is that you can actually click on the link and actually go to a YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, Chun Woo-won is actually live streaming in a live stream titled Reading the Bible Live. It's like 1,000 people watching it right now, and all the comments are filled with people being very, very supportive of Mongeuly right now. So it looks like this is blown up. A lot of people have gone to the Instagram page, And they are now going from the Instagram page straight to the YouTube page where he is actually live streaming right now. This is one of those cases where it's an insane amount of things happening all at once. I mean, Korea has a very, very long history of dictatorships. The president, the dictator that Chun Doo-hwan replaced, that was assassinated, his daughter is Park Geun-hye, who went on to become the 11th president of Korea, also the first female president elected to office in Korea, to the office of the presidency. And she also has the dubious honor of being the first female president to be impeached and imprisoned after her presidency in South Korea. She was pardoned by the next president, and she's no longer in prison anymore. But Korea has this crazy long history of corruption, dictatorship, and all these things. And then all in the middle of that, you have this webtoon that just kind of appears out of nowhere from the perspective of a dictator's grandson, which isn't anything that anyone would have expected, like certainly not what I would have expected. A few days ago, it was just all over the news. Every major news outlet in Korea was covering this. And it kind of looks like after it got national attention, he deleted everything, essentially is what happened. But I mean, if you guys are interested in looking for it, it is on the internet. It is all around. There's screenshots of it everywhere. It's not being translated necessarily, but it is definitely being printed by other news outlets. So if you're interested, check out my Substack. There's a few links. You can click around. You can find the Instagram account. You can find the YouTube account on my Substack. And this comes on the heels of a lot of AI webtoon news that's been coming out a little bit more recently. That, like, there is the AI webtoon to AI animation pipeline that TopToon is currently working on right now. They published a handful of these AI animated episodes that they have on the current iteration of their US service, which is called TopToon Plus. It is adult content. It's completely not safe for work. So if you're not interested in that kind of stuff, please don't go to the links or don't go look at the website. But there is that kind of stuff. And then now we're starting to see AI webtoons kind of bleeding into non-professional areas. There is a lot of funding in Korea for classes and instructional sessions teaching senior citizens how to make AI webtoons. Like, it is something that is definitely in the current cultural zeitgeist. But again, the grandson of a military dictator publishing his memoirs as a AI cartoon online, it is not what I would have expected for this week. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Are you guys for AI Gen? Are you guys against it? Do you think that this is an appropriate use of AI tools to tell stories by people who traditionally wouldn't have told stories in this manner? If you want to read this post on my Substack, please do so. It's free on my Substack right now. I publish a lot of stuff about the webtoons and the webtoon industry, especially stuff coming out of Korea that doesn't necessarily make it to English-speaking audiences. So if you guys are interested in that, check out my Substack. I'm also on LinkedIn. I post pretty heavily there. And yeah, if you have anything that you're curious about, anything that you want to ask, please just leave me questions in the comments below or leave me questions on the Substack. I answer those too. In any case, I hope you guys have a great day. I've been Mike, and you've been awesome. Bye.